Hello and welcome to another edition of the Get Growing Weekly Work Session with GetOiling. I'm Coach Ashley, joined today by Colin and Julie from our team. Hey guys.
Hello.
Morning.
We're looking forward to having you here with us today on the very first weekly work session of 2024. Can you believe it? Excited to be here today also because we're talking about a topic that I find pretty fun. I think that a lot of brand partners probably find this topic at least a little bit interesting because I think it's something that a lot of us have in common. We're going to talk about how we can take this thing that really is valuable and important to us and turn it into something that is productive, if not even profitable for your business as a brand partner. And what we're talking about today is research. It is how we love to learn and grow ourselves and how we can take what we're doing when we're out there falling down rabbit holes, as we tend to and probably love to do, most of us, right? Maybe just a quick show of hands. Do we love a rabbit hole? I love a good rabbit hole, right? So if that's you, you're going to love what we've got here for you today. So as you're coming in, head over to the chat. Let us know where you're coming in from. Maybe let us know about your favorite types of rabbit holes. Go ahead and pop that into the chat. There's so many that we can talk about. I think that we all, everyone who's here right now and who will probably watch this in the future, I think one of the things that we have in common is that we are abundance minded, or we are really aspiring to live with a greater abundance mindset. That, after all, is one of the core tenets of the Young Living brand, and probably something you resonate with a great deal. And that abundance mindset means that we are abundantly interested in the world around us and gaining an abundance of knowledge into these areas that we find interesting. That might be greening the home, it might be toxins, it might be food or nutrition. For those of you who are maybe doing the Ningxia Jumpstart, there's all kinds of really cool stuff there. There's studies that have been done on Ningxia. There's stuff that we can learn about our products, how we can apply those to our lives, but there's so much more than that, right? There's how we can grow ourselves. Go ahead and head into the chat. Let us know what you love to learn more about, and we'll talk about that some more on today's call. Now, we are also streaming in our Facebook group this week. Thankfully, it was cooperative this time. And if you're there right now, I invite you to head over to getoiling.com/weekly work session to come and hop on this live Zoom. We are live every week at noon Eastern US time. And so you can come and join us and chat with the community and even get hands-on help if that's something that you're looking for. So hello, Ohio, Wisconsin, Florida, Kansas, Vermont. We are so excited to have you and everyone here today. And of course, if you're watching a replay, come join us sometime. We'd love to see you. Now, we are going to pop out of slides here for just a little bit, and then we will come back for discussion. And then, of course, if anybody needs help, we also have that space here today, because this is a live work session where we can work together and work through any problems that you may be facing, any gaps in knowledge that you may have, in particular about using your GetOiling system, but not necessarily just that. So back to today, we are talking about how to turn our personal growth journey into new leads and sales for your Young Living brand partner business. Now, what we'll talk about today first, or how we really the formula of how to turn your research into revenue. We'll talk about the 3-step formula specifically. It is a series of steps that you're going to want to follow in order, and it's simpler than you think. We'll talk about best practices and favorite tools. And of course, as always, we'll get into live help and Q&A. So if you came here today looking for help, if you have questions about GetOiling, about your system, about your strategy, whatever that might be, you can head over to the Q&A right now and add your questions there. That's the best place to go, because the chat can get a little busy. Want to make sure that we don't miss anything that you post there. And of course, we have infinitely qualified Julie and Colin here with us, who can even get to your questions more quickly than I can while I'm in the slides. If you want to join us on a future live call, if you're watching this as a replay or you're in our Facebook group, you can go to getoiling.com/weekly work session, and you will be on the list to be notified and sent the link to join us every week when we go live at noon Eastern. And if you'd like to have one-on-one help on an upcoming call like this one, you can go to getoiling.com/website review, and we can spend some time together here on a call just like this one to work on whatever it is that you'd like to work on, any kind of help that you need on your website or strategy as a GetOiling user. And finally, if you would like for someone to just do this stuff for you, we can do that too. We've got a team. They're awesome and qualified. GetOiling.com/concierge is where you're going to want to go to learn about them and request a quote. All right. Now, show of hands. Who loves to research? Are we researchers? Do we love research? Yeah, so tell me what you love. I haven't seen it in the chat just yet. What's your favorite sort of rabbit hole to dive down, or what's the one that you're in right now? What are you focusing on learning more about right now? And do you have a favorite to follow through? So health equity. Ooh, I love that. I would like to hear more about that one, in fact. Brain health and wellness. Ooh, that's fantastic. Sound healing. Great. Awesome, awesome. For me, basically anything that has to do with supporting the innate ability of the body to heal itself and be well, you're going to have my ears ringing, right? And that's probably most of us here on the call today. It's probably everyone. Who am I kidding? I know who we are, right? We've got emotions and impact on wellness. Fantastic. Yeah. So we all love to research. We all love to consume information that is fulfilling to us on one level or another. And I bet, and I would bet my bank account, you guys, that you aren't just interested in that research because you want to make money, correct? This is a drive. This is something that, well, I would say gets you out of bed in the morning, but now that you have the entire world in a pocket-sized device, you really actually don't have to get out of bed to do your research. So, but it is a thing that really drives your activity, your interests. It's the documentaries you watch. It's how you shop, right? This really is something that is innate to who we are and what we are genuinely in our hearts and our souls interested in knowing more about so that we can make an impact on the world, right? Now, obviously, there are things that are worthy of your interest and research, even if it's something that's not an interest that you have right now, things that will benefit you in the future. There's lots of things that we can learn, should learn, right? But we're going to talk about how we can really take any of those topics and turn them into something that is more of an asset to our business, all right? Because this tendency to want to research, to want to know more and to consume more information in any direction, this can be a double-edged sword because on the one hand, you might come out of all of this better informed and authoritative so that when you are giving a class or you are consulting with a customer, you're able to be more helpful. You're able to share information more confidently so someone else has greater confidence in taking your suggestion, right? So that is obviously an outcome that most of us want to have. We do want to understand things better so that we can speak on them, right? That's just one example. But the thing is, and how many of us have experienced this, this can swallow our productive time, right? Because we find so much gratification in seeking new answers and digging deeper and understanding more that that starts to blur the line between work, like profitable work time or productive work time, and just taking up time. Let me know in the chat. Tell me yes if this has happened to you before, if you've dealt with this phenomenon, right? Where you love learning and you know that learning is something that can improve your results in your business, but maybe sometimes you're telling yourself you're working when you're actually just consuming content. Yeah, right. Without necessarily a clear plan for what you're going to do with it. Right. Cheryl says it makes me late, right? I'll only spend a few minutes on a topic and get the list and the research. I love it. Yeah. So this is something that we all deal with on some level. And so we've got to have a system for how we go about engaging in learning and research and personal growth so that it can be something that actually not only helps us to grow our business, but that helps us to make the difference that we're ultimately motivated by, right? We are more motivated here, everyone here. I'm going to speak for all of us on some degree. We are more motivated by making a positive difference than we necessarily are about money, right? Both of these things are important, but I think the first is a little bit more important to the second to everyone here. So it helps if you want to reframe this and start becoming more effective in how you're using your time to learn so that you still can spend your time investing in your growth, while also getting out of it what you need to actually grow, right, in a practical way. To look at this just like an investment, so if you bought a property and you want to maybe flip that property, or you're going to hang on to it and sell it down the road, you are probably going to make some improvements to that property, right? You're going to increase its value before you sell it, right? This makes sense to everyone, right? You buy a fixer-upper house, put some money, some effort, some elbow grease into some improvements, and then you get more out of it than you put in, right, when you sell it. So look at your prospects of learning and researching for yourself as you would an investment. And the investment is in you. You are the property, right? At the end of the day, you as a brand partner, you are what you're selling. You're not selling Young Living. This is a disconnect a lot of us make very early on that can really make your results a little shaky, right? With being a brand partner, you are your brand, and you are a brand partnered with Young Living. That means that you are selling you. You're selling the inspiration that comes from you, the story that comes from you, the lifestyle that you can share, the results that you can show, right? You are what you sell. So it makes sense to invest in you. People say yes to you, and through you, they say yes to Young Living, right? So we need to look at ourselves as that property that we're investing in to make better, to improve upon, so that we can get better results, right? So we do invest in ourselves. You're here today investing time in improving yourself, right? You have GetOiling because you have invested in your business so that you can run it more efficiently, right? You know that to some degree, if you're here today, that you got to make some investments in yourself. So let's talk about the three-step formula. This is how we go from research to revenue. And this is going to work for you regardless of how you have integrated Young Living and sharing Young Living into how you run and grow your business. The first step, of course, is to invest. And that means investing in the form of money into well-qualified resources. This can be coaching, this can be books, this can be courses and programs, right? So investing money into well-qualified resources. And this is also investing in your education, right? So if you know that your sort of deep dive is in wanting to learn about how essential oils work on the body or on emotions or hormones, then you may actually go for some level of certification, right? Where you get more formal training and education. This can make a lot of sense depending on sort of what your end game is and what you ultimately are wanting to create and the impact that you want to make, right? So you're investing money, of course. And then importantly, we're also investing time into well-structured learning sessions or specific time that you're spending in that research mode, right? How many of us can put on a research hat and then forgot that we're wearing it and then we're doing other things, but we still have the research hat on? It can be very distracting, right? So invest, right? The first thing that we do is intentionally, we decide to spend money to get resources. We decide to spend time so that we can invest our time into those resources to grow. And then there's the learn part, right? Which sounds obvious, but it's not, because that's not how most of us typically go about engaging with information, consuming information. Most of us are just clicking around. We find something interesting and then we Google a thing and then we click a link. And then before you know it, we are 27 levels deep and you forgot how you got there, right? Learning, what I'm talking about here, means we are intentionally taking in information that matters. We're deciding, I'm going to learn about this thing, right? I am specifically seeking to learn about this thing, and I'm going to treat it academically. I'm going to treat it like I'm in a classroom, whether you are or are not in a classroom. And what you want to make sure you're doing here in the learning process is that you're cataloging and documenting what you're learning, because we're going to use it later. So I want you to remember that information has a very short shelf life in your brain. If you have consumed information about how to do something, the best time to do something with it is now. If you don't have time to do something with information you're taking in, then it's not a good idea to take in the information. Because anytime you're going to be intentional, I want to learn about a thing, so I am going to sit down and learn about that thing. We want to make sure that we created space for it so that at the very least, we're taking notes. We're documenting, we're grabbing the links. Where did I learn that from? What's my source material, right? What's the link to that? Is there an image that I might be able to reference later on, right? That I might use as inspiration for content. Catalog and document what you're learning for later use. And then finally, teach. This is where you can grow your perceived value and increase your ability to generate leads and close sales for Young Living. And also where you have the opportunity to literally teach and sell what you know as a coach, consultant, course creator, et cetera, right? So first thing that you want to do with the teach method here is to create content based on what you've learned. Now, if you've been around and you're on any of these webinars, specifically watch the one that we did last week. And then there's many others where we talk about content marketing strategies. As a personal brand, you need to be creating a piece of long form content every week. So if you're already in research mode, then you are creating abundant opportunities for you to always know what you're going to talk about when it's time for you to create your long form content. We all also need to make social content. That needs to go out once a day, right? This is going to help fuel that, right? So we're going to teach using what we've been researching. Always remember that you are, in the grand scheme of things, if your journey is 10,000 steps, you are at least 300 steps into that process. And the majority of people are stuck on steps 1 through 12, or they haven't even begun their journey. So don't think for a moment that you can't teach someone how to get a result, teach them something that would then be very valuable to them, right? It's true, there's nothing new under the sun, but you have to have a mentality of abundance and understand that you are uniquely qualified. Your voice is uniquely made to be able to reach and teach certain people. And they're going to hear it better from you than they would hear it from anywhere else. So let the imposter syndrome float out the window, put faith in your voice, and create content that you turn around and teach what you learned. You don't have to be a professor. You don't have to be 10 years into the game. You can be someone who learns something interesting today, who turns around that same day or tomorrow or in 6 weeks or whenever you decide to do it, and you write a blog post about what you learned. Cite your sources because, you're documenting what you're doing, because we're actually researching, we're not just consuming content, right? And you wouldn't believe how just doing that could start to grow you a bigger audience of people who really like to follow you and hear what you have to say. And then finally, you can literally teach and sell what you're teaching, right? So if you have learned how to get a result from something you've learned, right? So let's just say, for instance, you decided that you wanted to study the effect of protein on weight loss. And you did that because you personally are looking to lose some weight. And so you decided that you were going to hit your calorie macros with this percentage or this many grams of protein on a daily basis. And you're tracking your results and you lose 20 pounds or whatever that looks like inside of a set period of time. You could then turn around and say, I'm going to sell this, this ebook or this mini course or this challenge or whatever that's going to lead folks through the process of what you did to get the result that you got, right? And that's just one, really simplified example of something that you can do with this. This literally is a ladder that you can create for your business where you invest, learn, teach, and what you teach is maybe reflective of where you are in the journey. But as you continue to grow, you're able to expand what it is that you have to say, to add things that are more profound or more complex or more interesting to different groups of people that you really want to make sure that you're intentionally attracting to your brand and ultimately to your business. Now let's talk about best practices, because let's face it, as people who love to learn and love to research, the number one thing that we are probably struggling with is lost time. Because while it is fulfilling to fill ourselves with this information that we want to learn, if we're not doing anything with it, we understand that we are losing productivity in our business. It's just like, if you're going to sit on the couch for 14 days straight and just eat chips, you are not going to be as healthy as if you went and expended those calories with exercise every day, right? So if you actually got up every day for 14 days, you would feel a little better than you would if you just ate. And it's the same thing for your business. You have to do something with what you learn. So let's get into this. Our best practices for the invest, learn, teach method is first to get clear on your information silos. Now, what this means is you want to basically decide that these are the buckets, right? These are the buckets or the silos of information that I am most interested in, or that I am maybe going to define my brand by. Right. So maybe this is, for you, you are interested in weight loss, you're interested in sleep, you're interested in hormones. And those are going to kind of be the main categories that you're going to be talking about, but you could go really deep, right? That's why I mentioned silos here. If you ever see a grain silo, they're very tall. You could put a lot in there, right? But it is one type of thing that's going to go in that grain silo, right? You're not going to put wheat and corn in the same one. So you're going to have one silo that's all about this. You can fit tons of stuff in it because information is truly lots of tiny bits of things, just like a silo. But you want to decide what those silos are. Top level, what are the main things that your brand is going to be talking about? And that's typically going to be reflective of what you most like to research and learn. And then you critically want to make sure that you are documenting your source material. So as you are engaging in, in these different things that you're finding, the information that you're seeing there, write down or rather gather, copy the image or the URLs and the images or any quotes that you want to make sure that you remember and potentially use in the future. Another thing that I think is really important here for us to do is to really examine the source material more deeply, the sources, the delivery, the points of delivery for these things, not only so that we can be more critical about where our information is coming from, because there is a lot of misinformation, especially if you're sticking with just the internet to educate yourself. This is becoming a more rare ability, I think, as more of us become internet natives. And maybe for those of us who didn't grow up with access to the internet, it came a little bit later. It's not necessarily something that you might have been taught, but I'm sure that all of us who went through schooling did learn how to determine what a credible source is, right? Now, once you've found a credible source for the material, you found an article on something, you're interested in what it has to say, you've read about the author or the organization from which it came, and you actually see this as being something that belongs in your documented list of information. Dig a little deeper. They're probably talking about other things that are interesting to you. If they are someone who has a social media presence, has a website, has a blog or a podcast or a YouTube channel, they're probably someone that you want to study a little bit more in depth, not just to know what they know, but to observe how they go about their content-based business as a brand. Because ultimately, if you want to grow a personal brand, you're probably going to want to do a little bit of what they're doing, right? So success leaves clues. You're often going to find when you're digging into sources, not just great potentially academic or other kinds of source material, but you're going to find folks who are inspiring to you that can give you ideas about how you can be putting yourself out there more effectively, right? Success leaves clues, and there is no PhD in how to do this stuff. It really is observing what's working in real time, including what's working on you, right? Really important thing you want to make sure you're doing is setting strict time parameters for yourself. When am I going to be spending time researching, right? When am I going to do this and for how long? If you are not using schedule blocking, right? If you're going to a calendar and blocking off, these are the periods of time I'm doing this kind of work, and These are my periods of rest, and this is when I walk the dog, etc. I really recommend that you look into, there's a lot of great YouTube videos out there on this. All you need is a Google Calendar or whatever your favorite digital calendar is, and you can start getting into time blocking or schedule blocking. Inside of that schedule blocking, you can schedule for yourself throughout the week. I'm going to spend 30 minutes here or 45 minutes there, but making sure that when you are engaging in this practice, that you're intentional. Here's what I'm looking up. I'm writing it down in my notes. Here are the URLs that I visited that I found were relevant. I'm pasting them here. Here's a quote or a paragraph that I found particularly useful, right? Here's an infographic or something like that from the source, and I've got all of this information together. This is very similar to doing a research paper, if you guys remember doing that in school, right? You're researching for source material and you're gathering the source information so that you can use that later on, right? But make sure that you are allowing yourself time to also document what you're doing. Don't skip this step, because otherwise you've just consumed information because it was nice to consume information. That's like just eating chips because they taste good, right? Which is fine, but at a point, it's not so good for you, right? And then finally, make sure that you are keeping your notes in one place. Highly, highly recommend that you utilize some kind of a digital tool for this. Don't just put this in notebooks, because your notes can be searchable if you do that this way. If you want to say, you know what, I was researching about a particular hormone, and I can't remember the person who said this. You can actually go into your notes and you can type in a couple of related words that you probably included, or even just the topic, and scroll right to that place where you can grab that source information, and then you can cite that in your next blog post, right? Just as an example. Now, I want to talk about some of my favorite tools. I want to open the floor up to this as well, if you have favorite tools to this end. I always recommend, before you get started with this, that you follow the map your message outline. This is something that I originally taught in the personal branding intensive, but you'll also find it inside of the GetOiling Success Academy, inside of one of our courses there. I'll actually point that out to you here in just a moment. But the idea here is that you're creating an outline, and the top levels of the outline are those silo topics, right? So everything that I'm going to talk about is going to fall into the categories of clean eating, instant pot recipes, and simple routines for moms of young kids. Those are my three silos. Everything I talk about is going to fall into those. And then you can create those subtopics. And then you can create the ideas for posts, right? For lead magnets, for all kinds of cool stuff. First, map out what that looks like for you so that you know the silos and see what fits in it. Because this way, if you've done this exercise, when you find a piece of information, even if you're just, idly scrolling social media in line at the grocery store and you come across a post, when you see that and you know that you want to engage with that link or whatever is there, you know where it fits in the grand scheme of things, of how you are going to be taking the information that you bring in to your mind and turning that into something that becomes useful to the world through your voice, right? So begin by mapping your message. And Jolene says she did that and has gone back to it over and over again as she niches down. Yeah, it is a really great tool to really just dump all the ideas out of your head, because you wouldn't believe how much we just store in our brains. And if we put the stuff that we're stuffing into our brains into these digital tools, we have more space for creativity. We have more space to experience less stress. You stop managing everything in your mind. They're great tools, really great, great digital tools to allow you to release those things. The Notes app, I'm not familiar with this outside of the Apple ecosystem, but obviously, if you have a favorite thing that you like to use, I particularly like the Notes app in Apple because I have an Apple everything. And so if I make notes, on my computer, they're also on my phone or on my iPad, on my laptop, etc. And so it doesn't matter where I am, I can go straight to it and find it. I probably use this the most. I don't keep it super duper organized, but I'll just create a new note about a particular topic. If I'm kind of in a rush and I find something, and I just paste all of that information in there. And then later on, ideally, if I get to it, I can grab it and put it into something that's a bit more organized and comprehensive, but it's there for me and it's searchable for the future, right? Now, another one that I love perhaps even more is Notability. This is a really cool app. I found it on the iPad first. I was actually a part of a speaker group, and one of the instructors shared this, and it kind of blew me away. If you have a tablet device with like a pen, you can write your notes, you can have pictures. It's really, really, really cool. And this is something that can speak across devices as well. So if you're working on this on your computer, then it may be able to show up on your phone as well. And I really think that on the go, because most of us live our lives that way, you want to make sure that whatever you're doing is something that is cloud readable. So that way you aren't basically sticky noting yourself into disorganized oblivion by not having everything in one place. Or maybe you use a notebook, but you forgot to bring it with you, and then you forget to put it down, and now it's lost, right? Workflowy is another, and this has a free plan. I think all of these, Notability and Workflowy, do have paid plans, but their free plans are pretty fantastic as well. Workflowy is an ever expandable outline software, and it is cloud-based. So this is actually a great tool for message mapping, where you can really create an infinite number of indentations in your outline, have rich text there with links and things like that. And of course, you could always go back through and, and edit and add to and move things around. Really big fan of that one myself. Trello is another really good one. This is a tool. Again, it has a free plan. It has paid plans that are excellent. I use the paid version of all of the things that you're seeing here personally and have for years. With Trello, you can create a silo as an entire board in Trello, or you could have, just your topics as the board, and then you can have your individual stacks that are themed based on your silos, right? And finally, and this is a favorite for me, for sure, is, if I'm wanting to learn something, I want to make sure that I am approaching it from as thorough a perspective as possible. I really like AI for research. Really, really like AI for research. So I would go into ChatGPT and start a dialogue and ask, if I were to go about effectively learning about this concept, create a plan for me, and maybe create a 6-week plan for me where I spend 30 minutes a day. You can actually create a curriculum for yourself, right? So ChatGPT is a place you can go, and that's OpenAI, Jolene, is where you would go for that. Or you could just Google ChatGPT. There is a free version of that, and it's worth checking out. But yeah, you dialogue with the AI and you ask it to create a plan for you to explore a topic. So if you're wanting to learn about hormones, maybe you want to drill in a little bit more specifically. You want to learn about hormones at this stage of the female life cycle, right? And then you create a plan for yourself, and then you can modify it, and then you've got you could ask it to show you, the most recent studies that they could possibly show you on a particular topic, right? So, and yes, this is a little bit different than using Write with AI and GetOiling. So Write with AI and GetOiling is called Write with AI because it really is geared, for the most part, toward you creating a written work product, right? You can do some research and ask some of those same questions with your Write with AI inside of GetOiling. But for research purposes, where you may want to have much more voluminous answers and dialogue, especially back and forth dialogue with the AI, then ChatGPT is where I would go for that. But if you want to turn something that you've learned into a blog post, you're going to want to use that feature inside of GetOiling for that. All right, so let's get into some discussion. If you're here for live help, we'll get to you here as well. And of course, if you have questions, we will get to those too. So let me see first. Laurel says, in researching and teaching brain wellness, I've put together a PowerPoint I used. How can I set it up as a class? So, Laurel, do you mean set it up as a class like in GetOiling? So now this is an online class that somebody can interact with? If the answer is yes, there's a couple of ways to do this. Um, if it's a PowerPoint, if the source, okay, you said yes. So if the source material is a PowerPoint and you're wanting to keep the if you're wanting to keep it, just sort of short and sweet, you could just create a video of yourself teaching it. And it wouldn't, you don't necessarily have to put that into an online class. You could put that onto a page and then people can purchase access to it and you send them to this page that is otherwise not discoverable for anyone else on your site. But if you want to break it down further, so maybe you began with a PowerPoint of these concepts, but you want to get into implementation or discussion or something like that, lesson by lesson, what I would do is first outline. Always first outline. So what does the PowerPoint cover? And then how do you want people to engage with the content? And so what I would do from there, and let me just make sure that I'm signed into a good account for this so I can show you. I would use the outline lesson builder inside of GetOiling. You could also use the AI lesson builder if you wanted to. Let me go show you. Here we go. So what I would do is once you've decided how you want folks to interact with it, I would go create an online class and I would add a new class. Actually, I think this, did I max out? I think I maxed out on this this dummy plan. So let me actually delete this class and then I can show you just start to finish. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to add a class. I'm going to use the outline tool because you've already determined in creating that PowerPoint what you're going to cover. So you're going to go ahead and create a vault for it unless you want the class to go into a different vault. Give it a title. Again, whatever the name of the PowerPoint might be, or whatever the outcome of completing this information would look like. And then you would give each module a name. You would give each lesson a name. And then you would just go ahead and pop in the description. And then for each of those concepts that you're going to cover, and you don't actually have to do module names, by the way, you can just do lesson names. If it is short and sweet, maybe there's 5 or 6 lessons and that's all there is. You're just going to title those, right? So lesson 1 and then lesson 2. And this right here is really going to be watch the video to learn, whatever the instructions that you want to provide. You can also choose here to allow discussion, if that's something that you want to have take place, and you can put in some kind of a prompt here. So I would follow through using the outline of what you've created for your PowerPoint, breaking that down into your lessons here. And then once it's created, and here I'll just go ahead and give these names so we can move forward. All right, I'm just going to make this a 3-lesson class, and then I'll show you what this will look like. Okay, so I'm going to create a new vault and add the class to it. This is my new course. Okay, so once you have followed those steps and put your outlines in, you're going to actually be able to go into each of those lessons. And you can, by clicking it, we could actually go in and upload a video if you want to include a video. You can get into more detail and rich text formatting for the lesson content, add any downloads you want, and of course, make any modifications to the conversation starter. You're going to want to do that for each of those lessons. And finally, you'll just set up the vault to deliver however you want, and you've got a course that you can give away or sell. And we do, of course, have much more in-depth training on this. Definitely check out our YouTube channel, as well as the GetOiling Success Academy, which, by the way, I did promise you guys I would show you where to go to find the Map Your Message, which I believe is going to be in to do Marketing Mastery Workshop. If you have access to the Brand My Business Workshop, you may find that there, and then 100% for sure, the Become an Icon Personal Branding Intensive. I go into that with the greatest depth. But Marketing Mastery Workshop, which is free to everybody, you're going to find this in here. So definitely make sure that you check this out if you have not done the Map Your Message exercise yet. Okay. how do you save to come back to the class outline when using this feature? I was playing around with it, but not sure how to save to come back to edit. So Camellia, I wouldn't go and start putting anything into that outline builder until you're ready to complete the outline builder part of the process, because there isn't a save for the inputs when you have that pop up there. So I would just do that, get the framework in there, and then you're able to, it saves, and you can go back and make those modifications to the class as it's built. All that's really intended to be is just a quick way for you to get information from somewhere else, copy paste it in so that you have a skeleton for your online class. And then of course you can go back and make all of those modifications that you want. All right, I have Laurel and Tina on my list here for live work reviews. So I'm going to go ahead and start bringing you guys out. And guys, keep the questions coming. If there are things that you want to kind of talk about, like I really love researching this, but how can I make that work to get more customers, get more brand partners, get more sales, etc. Add those to the chat, add those to the Q&A, and we will address those and work on some ideas together. So Laurel, let me bring you out to talk. Hi, let me know you can hear me. You are muted, by the way.
Unmute.
Awesome.
Can you hear me?
Hey, yes.
Okay.
How can we help?
Okay. You had helped me to get my website. The landing page seems to be disjointed. It's probably my easiest way to say.
Okay.
Somehow I was trying to change some things, and when I go back in, it's like in a loop. And so I have several things I would like to add in. I mean, I want to add in setting up a Zyto event.
Okay.
And so, but if I go into just my, I scan because I did a QR code, but I scan the QR code, it takes me like into a loop for the landing page. And I think I don't know how to go from the landing page and how to get it to automate to the correct place to go.
Okay. Okay. And so this is a landing page on your site. Do you know which one it is that you're using the QR code for?
Well, you don't. That's where I'm kind of stuck. I'm lost. I'm so
Do you
sorry.
have access to the QR code?
Yes. Let me see if I can send it to you.
Yeah, if you could scan it, and see what page pops up for you, then that would give us a good place to start. And when you say it's a loop, are you saying like once you've entered your information onto the landing page, it just goes back to the same landing page?
Well, when somebody else comes into my website with the QR code, it seems like it doesn't. I'm not sure how I'm going to get that to you.
Well, if you could actually scan it for yourself and see where it takes you. Another thing that you could do is maybe email that that QR code to me, and that's something that we could maybe continue looking at beyond the call. But you want to make sure that you're clear on where that QR code is sending somebody.
Right, and I think that's what happened. So my original landing page, we had so when I go to GetOiling, Laurel Dobson, it takes me to here, but it doesn't really, I can't place an order. If I hit place an order, it doesn't, that time it did.
Oh, I see what we're doing here. So, okay. So where it says order here,
Yes.
that we can get rid of that in our menu. Since the actual, so this top line level of the menu, this is actually linked and it works. So we don't need to have this underneath it.
Okay.
So we can actually,
so
you see where it's going to your site homepage?
Yes.
Yeah. So we're just going to delete that menu item and
Okay.
save it. And so place an order should just take them to, oh no, that's interesting. Okay, let's go find, so your website homepage was set up there in the menu under there. So did you name your page home perhaps?
I
No,
think yeah, I tried to do some things and I think I just messed everything all up, is
that's
what happened.
okay.
I
Everything
am
here
so
is
sorry. Oh my
fixable.
gosh.
You're good. Everything is fixable. So this, let's see, it's not going to be that one. Maybe it's this one.
Restoring hope.
Not that one. Maybe it's this one. I mean, it's one of these pages. It's on your site.
Okay,
Okay.
let me just try to do this. If I go to my
Hmm.
so
Hmm. I'm confused now. Where did it go?
Okay. All right. So
Here it is. You've called it
there we
Premium
go. That's
Starter
it.
Kits. Premium Starter
Yes.
Kits Explained. You want this to be your homepage?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to call this home. I'm renaming this home everywhere.
Okay.
Okay. And we're going to go over here to pages. All right, we're going to go back to our menu. And then in your customize my site, this is where I'm going to set up your homepage to
Oh,
be home, save. Okay, and now when we go to view my site, now we're here, we go to place an order, it's going to take us to Young Living. So that's functional.
okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I am trying to get a video to set in there with watch a free video.
Okay.
And I tried to get one set up, but then it clicks to the, whoops, a daisy. Oh, it clicks back to, it doesn't click into the video I was going to go with.
Is the video uploaded into your system here?
I thought I did, but maybe that's the problem.
Let's see. Well, this is the, okay, Young Living Premium Starter Kits Explained. Essential kit videos, and then I'm not sure what this one is. So it could be one of these. So basically what you'll want to do is ideally, and this does not have to mean exactly what you do. It could be a thing you do later, but what's workable
Okay.
right now is you can actually take, so maybe it's this video. If we share it with
I
link
think
and
what's in the essential oil kit, yes, the premium. So if
okay,
we can
so I've put share with link here and copy
okay.
link, right? So I'm copying this link. Now I'm going to go
Okay.
back to that home page, the one that we named home. And two things. So you see how Young Living Starter Kits Explained, free
Yes.
workshop, listen to, explore, etc. We want to make sure that that is also reflected here, right? Because this is not the same thing,
Okay.
right? So, and we don't want to be redundant with the image, but let's see, there's the fields, that's great. And then after they register, here we go. We're going to send them to
That was where I didn't know what
that
to
video.
do. Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to send them to
Okay.
that video.
Okay.
Right? We want to premium starter kit video is how we're going to tag these folks so that we know that that's how they came in. If you aren't planning to use a campaign for this, you don't have to yet. I recommend that you eventually do. We're just going to use no
What
campaign.
what campaign would you recommend?
Well, actually, the built-in campaign.
That would be great.
Built-in, or what would that be? That would be new prospects. Here we go, new prospects.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
Because you are talking about the starter kit, that campaign
Yes.
talks about the starter kit and it's built in.
Good.
So
Okay.
just use
Okay.
that and we'll send them straight to the video. We'll tag them here. And let me save this real quick and then we'll just go back and make sure that what you have here is reflected in, and I'm just copying that, is reflected in our pop-up here. So that's under the message to show. I'm going to put all of this here. All right. I'm going to put this here. Here we go. Register now to watch the free video. All right. And then that's the same thing that you said on the page. We don't have any additional space. Okay. So this should do it. So once this is saved, then we should be good to go here. I'm going to remove that exit intent though, by the way. We want
Yeah.
to, because we don't want too many pop-up things
No.
happening. So we'll just pick one after they've scrolled 50% of the page, I think is fine. So we'll save that and then I'll refresh. And now you can see watch free video. And you could obviously modify the size of this text and so on. But once they put this information in, it's going to go straight to, and here I'll show you real quick. Now, I don't know if the video is fully uploaded or not. That may be an issue here, but that is what we're sending them to. That's the name of the video. So it should be showing
Okay.
up here. You may want to kind of double check what your kind of upload process looked like there, just to
Okay.
make sure that you can get that in.
Okay. And so if I want, so I'm looking at doing the mental wellness as a class, mental wellness moments. That was the PowerPoint that I've already done. I've been teaching on that.
Mhm.
And then because I've been doing a lot, I seem like I have the blogs down, but I tried to set up the Zytoscan event, and where it asks you where the content info, what is the best content for trying to get into the info? What do you write in there?
Oh, that's just
So
where you're gonna
under an event, I created event.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so you're just gonna put the compelling information that would make somebody want to show up, right? Because they got to take time out of their day. What are they going to get out of it?
Okay.
Yeah, so you've got the basic details, and I'll just pull up one.
Right.
Yeah, there you go. So you don't have to put any links in here because you're allowing them to RSVP. You're sending them a campaign, etc. So so basically what you want to have happen is if we view this, what we want them to do is to register and say, you know, whether they're coming or not.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So then that's
And
okay. And then
I would
can
maybe
just,
I would maybe take this image and make it the featured image of the event.
okay.
So that one would be right here. So you would upload the file from here and then it'll show up alongside it. So it would be over here on the left hand.
Side.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Features on the side.
Mhm.
Okay.
There we
Thank you
go.
so much.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I would listen to, I try to get to most of your classes on Thursday live. And I was there when you did the one just around Thanksgiving time, for the classes, for your classes coming up. And I thought I had signed up for it, but I don't know what happened there. So
for the boot camp.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
doors do close for that today. So I'll go double check. It could be that I think you are in our system multiple times. This has happened to other people. Don't worry. You're in our system multiple times. So it could be that with one email address you signed up, but with the other one, yeah, it doesn't look like you're signed up for it from either. So basically what you're going to want to do is, let me just show you. And everybody else who is watching, by the way, the New Year Level Up Bootcamp kickoff call is tomorrow. And so the doors are closing finally for the New Year Level Up Bootcamp tonight. And so if you want to get started, look for this in your account. So long as we have tickets available, they're here. When you click here, and then you can watch this video. And then after about a minute and a half, there's a button down here that shows up. When you click it, here it is. It's going to ask you if you want to be charged for this for the boot camp, and then it'll send you the email. You'll get into the vault and all that kind of good stuff, and have all of our call information. So when you're ready, that's what I would do is to just head over here. I don't see you. I did just look up and see if you were tagged, and it doesn't look like you were tagged with the boot camp yet.
Not either one. And how did I end up with two different emails? So am I connected twice? with Get
So
Oiling?
you have one account. I think that what's possible is that before you signed up for a GetOiling account, maybe you were in our system as a lead with one email address. And then when you signed up for
Oh,
your GetOiling system, maybe you used a different one.
okay. My primary account is Dobson Laurel, and that's what Young Living goes with. And so the
Got you.
second one, the Healthy Living, that's the name of my business. Okay.
So I think what we can do, and maybe just shoot our support team an email. We can merge that account for you
Okay.
to go with the primary one that you want, so that you aren't getting duplicate emails and you're finding the information that you want easily.
Okay. And then the last question is, I know you have the concierge program, and
Mhm.
I'm wondering if maybe that's what I need to kind of go into, because I get very disconnected with it, and distracted with trying to put it all together. I have all these ideas, but I can't seem to get them all linked in properly. And so if I just go to the getoiling.com concierge, is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. GetOiling.com/concierge, and you can basically just let them know what you're looking for, and you can hop on a call with somebody. They'll give you a quote, and then it may be that you're working on a big thing, but it could just be it's one bite at a time.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ashley. You've always been so much help.
Well, I am so
Wish I
glad
could
that we
go
could
as
help you
fast as
today.
you. Thank you.
I've been doing this probably longer than anyone else on the call, except for maybe Colin. I think you might have been using the system before I was.
Thank
Maybe,
you.
I don't know. Thank you. All right, Tina, thank you so much for your patience. I'm going to bring you out to chat. How can we help you today?
Hello, good evening. Thanks so
Hey.
much for taking the time. I was emailing with Colin and he suggested for this one question, I actually have another one after that, a quick
Mhm.
one, to jump on a call with you. So as of January, just a few days ago, I've taken over an academy here in Germany where we train and certify health and nutritional coaches for low carb keto. And the website currently is an absolute disaster, but we do need to leave it where it is currently. That
Mhm.
might change at a later stage. But what I did want to do is use the function from Get Oiling for the newsletter. They're currently, in the past, they've been using something called Get Response that I'm not
Okay.
familiar with and haven't used yet.
Mhm.
And I was really hoping to send them from my Get Oiling account. Now, the issue is that I can't send them with the email address that I have, but I do want to keep that email address for my business. So these are two separate things. So
Mhm.
is there some opportunity to have a second email address, or do I then need to set up a complete second account just to be
Yeah.
able to send emails out from a second email address?
Yeah, so there's for outgoing email from your system, it's a per account. As of right now, it's one URL attached, it's one email address attached. Now you have the ability to have maybe notifications from vaults go out to other emails, but anything that's coming like from your system can only come from one email. So if you want to, being mindful of the copy that you're using maybe on the landing page where you're collecting information, or you're otherwise just making clear who you are and why they would be hearing from you from this address, there you could of course have them tagged in your system, those contacts, and communicate with them from your same account that you have. But if this is an established entity, and
Yeah.
I'm not really sure kind of what the direction that you're thinking of, and really the scale, just shoot me an email, Ashley at GetOiling. Happy to talk with you about this. This sounds
Okay.
like something that you may want to develop out, even if it's just the back end first, on a tracked well, potentially. Unless this is something that you would see like maybe becoming very Young Living integrated. And that's attract well it is GetOiling. It's just for
Mhm.
non-oily people.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I do want to have my oily business in some state on that website at some point,
Sure.
but it is really the coaching. There's a lot of recipes and such. So it fits in, but it should sit separately. Okay, I'll send you an email on that. Thank you.
Yeah.
And a second one, the quick one is um, I'm hosting workshops, and I on occasion do events, but I do have the events tab open, and then
Mhm.
sometimes I delete it out, but sometimes I forget after the event. And then when you click on it, it says no event scheduled. So what I just did and tried was to put my workshop just underneath it. And you can kind of see it there, but it still says really fat, no events scheduled. Would I then have to duplicate and basically create an event and a page if I want it on a page? Or what would your best suggestion be for that?
Yeah, so we don't currently, correct me if I'm wrong, I know that it's a wish list item for us to be able to have a modification that you can make that's a placeholder essentially for whenever there are no events coming up. And I think what it sounds like you did was you modified the my story and photo to kind of, because that's what you can have show up at the bottom of that page if there's nothing on it. There's not currently a way to not have that text show up. So what I would do is just always endeavor to have something on there. And what you could do is have an event and put it like, I don't know, 2 years in the future. It doesn't matter. But have it be, sign up for updates or something like that. And then instead of it being something that folks can RSVP for, maybe they you have here, I'll actually go and show you what this looks like in your here we go, and I'll show you what I mean.
And you
Yeah.
see there is a workshop listed there. If you just hover over the events tab on the right-hand side,
Oh, got you. I see.
but
I
it
see.
still says
But it's on a
like,
page.
yeah, and I used
Right.
your one class here, I thought, or the wait list one, I just kind of
Yeah.
repurposed it here.
Looks really good. Yeah, so yeah, what I would do is yeah, like maybe have a placeholder here. So if this workshop, is this an ongoing thing?
This
Or
is for week
it's
after, no, it's not an ongoing thing.
okay,
It's
okay. So it's a one-time thing. Yeah. So what I would do is just have an ongoing event that you create that goes here. And so I'll show you what I mean by that. I would maybe have some kind of a placeholder image that you would use for or an image that you use for the featured image that is something to the effect that's, with your branding, something to the effect of be on the list for future events, right? Sign up to be the first to know about upcoming events. And then the event name would be don't miss an upcoming event. You would, say whatever you want to say as a call to action to get them onto your list. And then what you would do for the event is that you would not allow self-registration. You would send them to a landing page where they would just opt in and get tagged to be notified of future events. And I would set this very far in the future and maybe update it every, 6 months or so that it's a little further out. So that, so let's just say, for instance, we'll just, make this January 31st of next year. And so this will always be there. So if you don't have any other events coming up, you'll have a call to action that's on your events page that moves people toward your signing up for your list and getting tagged so that they can be notified when you announce your next event. Does that make sense?
or yes, it does. Or alternatively, basically, I could just call it my workshop name, put the picture of the workshop in there, or one of the pictures, and forward it to the page maybe.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you have like this workshop that's coming up,
Yeah.
then yeah, 100% use this image and all of the details and everything for it here, and then just make this page is
Mhm.
where they go to, right? Like this event link. So don't allow self-registration, but send them to that
Yeah.
landing page.
Okay,
Mhm.
I think I'll do that. That sounds like a good idea. And whilst I'm seeing this again, on most of my other pages, I've just kind of done a footer and just kind of created one, I think, on the go. I'm still having a little bit issues, like not, yeah, is it on this one or where did I just see it? Or on the events page, if you click on the
Mm.
events page,
Mhm, mhm.
I'm still having there. Is
Yeah.
there a better footer? I mean, I can,
Yeah, absolutely. So you'll want to set up a site-wide footer, and whatever your site-wide footer is going to go there. And so that's going to be over under your customize
I
my
don't think I have,
site.
I don't think I created that. I think I recreated just individual ones.
Yeah, so you can just have one that automatically applies throughout your site, wherever, and it's gonna, so that means it's automatically going to show up on your event pages, your event listing, your blog, um, your blog at the very bottom, even though blog posts and blog pages can have footers. And then it will just be the default if you don't have a different footer set up. You can choose to have different footers for different pages if you want them. But
Yeah,
this would be the one.
Sorry.
Yeah, this would be the one that applies across the entire site. So you just want to make sure you have something there. And then whatever shows up on your events page will be congruent with the rest of your site.
Okay, yeah, I think I went a bit too crazy, and every page of mine is a different color, so the footer is a different color too. So I think I probably need to create one of those.
Yeah, just create one that you're okay with using just generally on this, like the built-in pages on your site. And you could certainly keep others on other pages. It is good, like a site footer, just as a practice, for the majority of basic website pages, it's going to be good to have the same one. But if you have offers or a particular funnel where you've got a sales page, a landing page, and other pages, you could break form with that and have maybe a specific one that you use for those. But as a standard practice, it is good to have more or less the same one on most of your website pages.
Could you have a real quick look on the some of the pages, which one you'd use? Like go under the German one. The German one I have more. So
Okay, yeah, sure.
that one is actually the black and white. So I don't even know if I have one there. And the other ones are that I could probably use, right? Just
Absolutely. Yeah, something just like this you could put everywhere on your site. 100%. That works fine.
and how do I do that part? Because that one is probably a different color, I think.
Here we go. Yeah, and this one is a slightly different version, which, okay, that's fine. But it's formatted basically the same. It's just got a different color. I don't think that's problematic at all. And then that one is, I think, the same as the one that I was just on. Here's our coaching one. Okay, again, more or less the same. You didn't go too crazy.
Okay.
And then that's for the member area login. All right, so yeah, what you could do, and let's just look at the home, and so you didn't create a dedicated footer. Like those are just the things at the bottom of each of the pages that you're using, right?
I believe that's what I did. Yes.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just create a page and call it footer. And I'm just gonna use a blank one. And then we're gonna use the copy in page feature. And we're actually just gonna be able to copy the footer from one of these pages. So I think home, here we go, home page in German. So I'm just gonna delete all of these sections except for the footer, and then that'll be your footer. Now you may choose to have a bilingual footer that you use across your entire site, but you have this on the bottom of your German one. So yeah, so we can leave it just like that and save it. This is going to be footer white because it has a white background. That is by link only. We don't need to show a header or footer on it because it's just a footer. So we save that, and then we can actually go back into your customize my site. And then when we put in footer white and save it, then when we go to our events page,
Yes.
it's there.
Thank you. It's beautiful.
Yeah, that looks better.
And then I'll add an event in there.
But one thing you do want to make sure that you do, now that we've done that, is you want to make sure that you don't have those other, like you want to disable the footer on your other pages so that you don't have double footers, because you might have double footers on some of these. So if we go look, okay, that's fine. Looks like we might be good to go, but you want to just make sure, because sometimes we'll apply a footer automatically. So if we'll go look at your pages one more time and double check. And I'll show you where the settings are. So here's our German homepage, and under settings, we are showing the header, but not showing the footer. So there you go. If you have created a footer for that particular page and you want it to be the one that you've built on a page like this one, then disable the footer, because if you show the footer, I'll show you what this looks like. If the footer is set to show in the settings, then you have two of them.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Yep, so just make sure that you have that disabled if you have it already built into the page.
Perfect. Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Thank you very much. And I'll send you an email on the other subject as well.
Yeah, good. Look forward to hearing from you about that. All right. Thank you guys all for your fantastic questions today. I hope that you are inspired to do more with your learning, with your research, with your growth. We are all in such great awe and support of your dedication, your inspiration, and the mark you are meant to make here on the world. And we're here to help you make it. We'll be back next week, same time. In the meantime, head over to our Facebook group. And if you have not yet, get started with the boot camp. Log into your dashboard. You'll see the link there to get started. Our first call, our kickoff call is tomorrow. So look forward to seeing you there. Have a great week, everybody. Take care.